When it comes to speaking in American English and doing it with a natural American accent, it can be difficult, especially if you're not sure what to do with vowel sounds, breath, linking, all that fun stuff. So, one way that you can immediately start improving is by starting to pay attention to these features in American English by listening to native speakers. And that's what we are about to do. Welcome to another episode of Say It Native, where we have 5 tips from native speakers that you can start applying to your own speech. My name is Jeff. It rhymes with breath. I'm going to be your host for today's show. Again, we have 5 tips. Let's begin right off the bat with our first tip here. Guess what I'm going to tell you?
General one. That's kind of what we're going for.
One more time, pay attention to how she says kind of.
General one. That's kind of what we're going for.
It is a very common phrase in American English, so if you're not using it, I kind of suggest you do it soon. Some quick little tips for this is you will notice that instead of saying kind of with that strong V sound, that of actually gets reduced to just a schwa sound, so just So instead of kind of, it becomes kinda, which is very so much like a little or sort of. Those are other phrases. Like if a test is kind of difficult, that means it's a little bit difficult. It's not the hardest, but it is a little challenging. When you do this with kind of, or make it kinda, make sure that that sound in general is going to be at a lower pitch, like kinda.
General one. That's kind of what we're going for.
Hear that there. Let me know again as well. Do you guys use the word kinda in your own speech or not so much? That is an example of our very first tip, though. If you guys are getting value from this, one thing you can do to help me out so the stream can reach more people is just press like. Just pressing like helps us out immensely. Hello to Shok. You can also say hey if you're hanging out with me. But let's move on to our next tip. See if you can guess what I'm going to say here.
A general American accent.
One more time, I want you to pay attention to the reductions. Count the syllables here.
A general American accent.
That when you look at general, you see a longer word. You can think 3 syllables, and you may pronounce it that way too, like general. But a lot of times that second syllable is going to get cut off here. So instead of general, you get general, general. You also see this with the adverb too, like generally. You just usually don't hear that second S sound. It's not usually generally or general. It's usually generally or general. If you're interested in this sort of topic, this is called a dropped syllable. English has lots of these sorts of words. To give an example, we have broccoli instead of broccoli. We have average instead of average. It's just average. We have comfortable instead of comfortable. It's just comfortable. And we also have, what are some other examples of some drop syllables? Oh, Catholic instead of Catholic, just Catholic. Chocolate, if you're a chocolate fan, again, it's not chocolate, it's just chocolates. These are examples of words that have what are called drop syllables in case you want to study those more. Okay. Shok says that they kind of use kind of a lot. That's great. By the way, guys, too, if you are interested in this episode and similar episodes like this, we have a podcast, MP3 version of this as well, in case you want to take us on the go. And you can find that at fluentamerican.com/podcast. On to our third clip. What are we going to say for this one
You
here?
have no idea what they're doing and you've never heard it before.
Into vowel sounds a little
You have
bit.
no idea what they're doing and you've never heard it before.
So it's just like no and then idea. And that can actually be a little tricky. No idea. No idea. Something that is going to be very common in terms of linking these sounds together is we're going to add a very slight W sound just to kind of smooth things out because no idea is a little tricky, but no idea. No idea. No, no I. So instead of no I, it's more no I, no I, no idea.
You have no idea what they're doing and you've never heard it before.
Strategy you can use to join vowels together is a slight W sound. So for instance, like if you say like go away, that's another example of another case we have that W sound, go away. You can also find some vowels linking together with a Y sound. So for instance, I am very often becomes I am, like a slight y sound. I am. Um, Also, he is. He is. So instead of he is, it becomes he is, and things like that. Just a common way to kind of link everything together. I have two more strategies for you, though. See if you're going to use this next one in your own
Starting out,
speech.
you can't really pick one. I think
Super common word and a super common challenging one as well. Ask yourself, how would you say this
starting out,
phrase?
you can't really pick one. I think
Really, you can't really, and I have students always asking me, is it you can't really or you can really? Can't versus can. Some quick notes of that. Like a lot of times if you have can in a sentence, the base verb after it is the part that gets stressed. Like for instance, like, oh, you can really do this. You can really do this. You can do. So notice that when can gets reduced, it very often becomes like can, like you can, whereas can't, you can't really. That's how it sounds typically when it's reduced. Like you can't really go. You can't really go. Can you hear the difference between you can really go and you can't really go? So in terms of the reduction, you're more likely to get can't. This does use a held sound, so that's why you're not hearing that T. So it's like can't. The other things that are happening there too is that right before that N, you want to do a heavy breath out of your nose. It's like and. Also keep the pitch low and the breath in placement low as well. It's like and, can, can't. You can't really. If you say you can't really, that's fine. It's very understandable, but just be aware that's not typically how native speakers talk. They're usually going to use a held sound, so can't really typically becomes can't really. We talk about that combination in other places as well. So if you're curious about that, be sure to let me know in the comments, and we'll be happy to direct you to some resources. Guys, I do want to let you know if you're enjoying these things that we're talking about, you find these tips helpful. We do analysis like this of native speaker speech and also your own speech in a program that we call Mission English. In Mission English, we meet 2 times a day. So, for instance, tomorrow's Tuesday. So, we're going to meet at 9:30 in the morning. We're also going to meet at 1:30 p.m. These are New York times. On Wednesday, we do 9:30 and 8 p.m. Thursdays, we have a conversation class and meet again at 8 p.m. And then Friday, again, 9:30 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. On the weekends, we have writing sessions. So if you're preparing for IELTS, you're preparing for business meetings, emails, presentations, things like that, you can take your writing or your script to us and we'll take a look at it. I was an examiner for the IELTS test for several years. So I'd be happy to help you get your goals there. I do have one last file for us to take a look at. What are we going to be discussing?
there are a lot of beautiful songs in Italian.
The most difficult nationalities to pronounce coming from the country of Italy. A lot of people saying Italy or Italy or even like Italia and things like that. But in American English, it'll be Italy. So you want to start off with a short I sound. Make sure the sides of your tongue touching your top teeth, like eh. And for the country, then we'll talk about the nationality or language. But for the country, so then I would do a schwa sound, it's like and then finish with an e sound that's at a nice low pitch, eh, eh. Then you can speed that up, illy, 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 illy. Now for the nationality or the language, Italian. That first syllable, you can either use a schwa sound, or a short I sound, eh. And then the second syllable, you're going to get tal. So you're finishing with an al sound, almost like a dark a plus dark al, tal. Okay. And then the last syllable tends to be another tricky part. You're finishing with like yin, almost like the letters yin, yen. You can start off just make the preposition in. Make sure you're not saying in or n. It's in. Then add a slight y sound before it. Yen, yen. As a bonus tip, try to say all that with the tip of your tongue down against the bottom of your mouth. Yen. And then you can put that all together. Stress the middle syllable. Italian. It's like yen, Italian. And those are ways you can say Italian and also Italy. Guys, once again, if you're interested in working with me every single day of the week through our Mission English program, the best part is you pay one price, the cost of one class, but you actually receive up to 40 30 classes minimum. You can find out more information about that at fluentamerican.com, which you can see. I did it right this time, right down there. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this stream. Again, if you found this helpful, feel free to share it to someone else who's studying English. I think they would enjoy it too. Yeah, or just like the stream, because even that is very helpful in getting other people to find it. Thank you guys so much. You have a good day. Have a good night. Good afternoon. Take care.